Today we're learning how to play Hush Little Baby in the chord melody style, a great first chord melody piece if you are new to this style because A, it's bar chord free, and B, you are very familiar with the melody. That's why these lullabies make very, very good beginner pieces in this style. New ukulele tutorials every single Wednesday and Saturday, so if you like this kind of content, hit subscribe, ring a bell, never miss a lesson. And if you could take a second and hit that like button, it really does help the channel. Printable tabs, becoming a Patreon, links up here in the notes. You will see additional links in the description, including my email if you want some one-on-one lessons. Also, we'd appreciate it if you could hit that like, it does help the channel. Grab the ukulele brain attention span and let's break this one down. One of the cool things about this piece is no bar chords, and that does make it substantially easier if you're brand new to this style. But we're still going up the fretboard. So let's take this G shape and let's move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets up. Now, believe it or not, this is a C chord. The root note is right here. So wherever you have this shape, if you know this note, you know what chord you're playing. The other cool thing about making this a C chord is a C chord has a G note in it. So we're not strumming just these 3 strings. We get to strum all 4 strings. Okay, and the melody is the C note. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to strum just these 3 strings. When you're using your thumb, it has the ability to kind of space out the notes in a way your index finger can't. And your ear kind of gravitates, not really kind of, it gravitates towards the highest note, treating that as the melody. The note that sits on top, if it stands out a little bit, your ear's going to perceive that as the melody note. So by strumming with our thumb and stopping before we strum this A string, our ear hears this C note as the melody. That's the first beat. Your thumb's right there, and while holding the same shape, you're going to play the 7th fret 2 times right after that. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Third beat, strum all the way through, because now our melody is this E note. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Get your pinky down. Same thing as if you take a G and get your pinky down, you have a G suspended 4. Here we have a C suspended 4, a C with an F note. If that's too cramped for you, I'm playing a soprano because I'm trying to show you that you can get this song on any shape ukulele. But if it does feel too cramped for you, just play just the 8th fret by itself. So measure 1. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Let's take a look at the second measure. Now the second measure is the only measure where we're ever going to have any variation. Okay, the second measure. What's going on here is you're going to strum through 0, 7, 7, 7. And this is what's called a G6. Now you don't need to know that to be able to play this, but when you take a G major and you add an E note to it, you get what's called a G6. It's because E is the 6th interval relative to G. Just so you know, if you're interested in chord theory and that kind of stuff. If you're interested in intervals and how chords are made, actually, and you like that stuff, I'll link a video in the description that talks all about the DNA of a chord, which is the interval. So you're going to strum through 1, then your index finger is going to grab the 5th fret here, and you're going to play it 2 times. Don't say a word. And then we're using this shape. Now, if you've ever played an E flat, you've seen this. And really, if you've ever played an E, you've seen it. But luckily, we don't need to play the G string because it's a G chord. So it's your ring finger on the 7th fret with your pinky underneath it, and your index finger on the 5th fret of the high A. So you get 0, 7, 7, 1. Don't say a word. And then on the 4th beat, you strum through with your index finger because we have no melody. And remember, when we have no melody, we don't want it to sound like melody. So our thumb brings that melody forward. A good old index strum does a good job of not really making any one note stand out. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So we put them together. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Everything we have so far. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and third measure. Now this is really cool, and it's going to show you the power of the high G. If you don't have a high G, don't worry, I'm going to show you what you can do. So we're going to strum through this G, and our melody is the G string, or the G note. So we're going to strum just those 3. Now, it's another G note after that, but we're going to play the open high G. We're going to go 1 and, because that gives us time to get up here to this shape. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Keep that index finger down, lift your hand up, play the 5th fret and the 7th fret. 4 and then the next measure, keep that index finger down and the first beat. You're going to strum all these strings. And we'll talk about that in a second. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now, you have a low G. You can't do that. Just hit this G note twice. Okay, so just hit that note twice. Okay, so this note is a D note. When you take a D note and you add it to a C, you get a C add 9. And that's what we're doing on the 1 beat here. We're playing that C. Well, let's play everything up to there right now, from the top. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Now, this note here is a D note. When you take a C chord and add a D note to it, you get what's called a C add 9. Now, the D is really the second interval, but if you add a whole octave to that, you get the 9th. Again, it comes back to this chord DNA. If that's something you're interested about, check that link. If you understand intervals and you know how you can use them to create chords and scales, that's really the foundation of almost all music theory. And then at that point, it's just kind of understanding how to use those intervals to create tension and resolution. So that's really what theory is in a nutshell, and a form of communication. We're going to strum all the way through 1. Then we're going to come down to the 3rd. And then we're going to pluck the C and the 3rd beat together. And then we're going to strum through on the 4th beat with our index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will take us to the top where we play the next verse. Now, if you were to finish, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, like we're going to the next verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that 3rd beat, I'm just plucking the C string and the C note, because this open C note here is implying the C chord, kind of like what a bass guitar would do. So that way we're not always strumming this. There are several ways to harmonize the melody, and the more you play chord melody, the more you're going to see. And that's one of the fun parts of chord melody, is putting these together. So let's play through the whole thing like it was the last measure of the song. I'm going to count it out too. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's done. So we're going to play it from the top now. We're going to play through it 3 times. The first time through, we're going to play 2 notes there because it's the don't say a word. And the next 2 times, we're only going to play it once. Okay? So 3 times through. And ultimately, you can play through it as many times as you want. And you're not singing. So whether you play that note once or twice, it doesn't make a massive difference. Okay? So from the top, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. Just play through it as many times as you want. That's the circle. And that is your very first chord melody tune. I hope you dig it. There you go, folks. Hush Little Baby. If you made it this far, you're going to see the chord melody playlist right here. That's approaching 100. So we do everything from these very easy pieces that are introductory, great to get to know you, to things like Blackbird, Kiss from a Rose by Seal, much more complicated pieces with complicated melody. Really, it's up to you. All of these pieces have printable PDFs as well if you become a Patreon, okay? All right, until next time, keep on rocking and rolling. Keep on loving life because life is good. I will catch you on the flip side, and I will see you Wednesday and Saturday for ukulele, Monday for guitar, and maybe in some private lessons on Patreon. Take care.